tonight, a Target 8 investigation into little-known lists and law enforcement. Police officers with documented cases of lying on the job or to their bosses.
Most are still working. Some have worked as detectives, but their credibility is in question whenever they walk into a courtroom. And local public defenders doubt the lists are complete. Target 8 investigator Ken Kolker joining us now with more in this story. Ken.
Brian and Sue, a Target 8 investigation uncovered 27 officers on those lists in West Michigan, many from the Grand Rapids Police Department. Prosecutors are required by law to notify defense attorneys if these officers are called as witnesses in court. We found that doesn't always happen. The list includes some familiar names.
You're putting me in a real bad place right now, but you understand what I gotta do, so.
Then Sergeant Thomas Warwick and Officer Adam Ickes of the Grand Rapids Police Department were suspended and made the list for knowingly making false statements in the highly publicized November 2016 wrong-way crash of then Assistant Prosecutor Josh Kuipers.
Josh, go ahead and step out for the car for me real quick, okay?
Ickes did not administer a breathalyzer test even after telling his supervisor that Kuipers seemed hammered. Warwick drove Kuipers home.
We're talking about the integrity of the criminal justice system and the integrity of affecting people's constitutional rights, their liberty, their well-being.
Then there's Kent County Deputy Kenyatta Weaver Jr., who got suspended and made the list after throwing punches and pulling a gun in an off-duty brawl last year.
You know who that is, right? It's Kenyatta. Yeah.
Then lying to responding deputies from his own department.
No, we weren't fighting. I promise you, man. No, the gun was never pulled.
It's a calculated risk, certainly, but it's something that we monitor very, very closely.
For the first time, in response to a public records request from Target 8, the Kent County Prosecutor's Office is releasing its list of police officers with what are known as Giglio letters. It includes 13 officers, 11 of those from the Grand Rapids Police Department.
Giglio has to do with the integrity of the officer, mostly focusing on this character for honesty and truthfulness.
Officers who are caught lying or giving false information are, for the rest of their careers, considered Giglio impaired, meaning whenever they're called to testify in a case, the prosecution is required to notify the defense about their questionable credibility. It dates back to a 1972 U.S. Supreme Court ruling named after a bank fraud suspect, John Giglio, and it can lead to dismissed criminal cases or charges never being filed. Also among the Grand Rapids police officers on the list, an Officer of the Year nominee who in March 2019 made misrepresentations to supervisors over the use of a department take-home vehicle. The others from GRPD made the list for incidents dating back at least a dozen years, falsifying records about overtime cards, rest breaks, mistraining, a sick leave request, an accident involving a police cruiser, and an investigation into excessive force. At least 4 have worked as detectives. The most recent addition in September, a Kentwood police officer who falsified a written document in a domestic assault case, according to his Giglio letter. He reported it as a verbal fight only, even though the suspect admitted hitting the victim.
The Giglio letter does not mean, boy, they're gone forever. It's a matter of something to bring up to a defense and a defense attorney if he should become a witness. And it is an issue of credibility, but that's for ultimately a jury to decide, possibly.
Disclosing.
Target 8 provided Kent County's Giglio list to the County Office of Defender. The office handles about half the county's felony cases.
Some of the names on the letters that you provided me are names of officers we know and that are still working cases today.
He also questions whether the list is complete. It certainly was not in early 2019, he says, when Vicente Rodriguez Ortiz went to trial for murder. The lead detective, a 27-year-old police veteran, had an impeccable reputation when he took the stand. At least, that's what defense attorneys thought.
There's a natural tendency to trust police.
The detective's testimony helped put away Rodriguez Ortiz for life without parole in February 2019 for the shooting death of a 17-year-old. 5 months after the trial, the prosecutor's office sent the lead detective's Giglio letter to the public defender.
For giving false statements during a witness interview regarding the investigation of a complaint of excessive force.
Is that concerning to you?
That's very concerning to me.
That misconduct was in the year 2000. And is that something your attorney would have brought up in trial?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's something that would have been front and center.
Prosecutor Becker told Target 8 he relies on police departments to turn over names of Giglio-impaired officers. He says he has requested those letters every year from all local agencies since he was elected in 2016. Last year, he says, was the first time Grand Rapids included that lead detective, even though his misconduct happened nearly 2 decades before. He called it an oversight by Grand Rapids Police.
It's a huge issue. It's too late. I mean, the point is to know what we call impeachment evidence ahead of time so that we can use it to question the witness and bring into question their credibility if it's necessary.
Now, that murder conviction is being appealed, but on different grounds. In a statement, the Grand Rapids Police Department said it follows the law and sends its Giglio letters to the prosecutor, but it did not respond directly to why the detective in the murder case was not identified until last year. We have much more on our website, including a breakdown by county of officers with documented lies. And tonight at 11, how the lies of a Kent County Sheriff's deputy forced prosecutors to dismiss charges against a heroin dealer.